happy Monday. Hey, I'm a couple seconds late on this one today, but happy Monday. I'm happy to be here with you guys. I love Mondays. I know that sounds crazy. Most people go, "Oh man, it's Monday." They get the Monday morning blues. But I love Mondays because to me, it's a fresh start. Mondays are a fresh start to the week, and when you truly enjoy what you do, then new beginnings feel amazing. New beginnings feel exciting. Now, no matter what situation you're in, you can find a way to enjoy what you do. So I'm saying, all I'm saying is that you can make the best of your situation, no matter what it is. You can start from a place of energy. You can start from a place of power. And that's what Mondays are about for me. So hopefully today I can give you something that will motivate you a little bit and inspire you to take action. And hopefully that will lead to transformation, because motivation and inspiration is great, but transformation is what we're really after, right? So this week I was thinking a lot about belief, the power of belief and what that really does and how it affects every asset and every part of our lives. Belief affects everything. Henry Ford says, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And it's true. How many times do we end up doing things that we deeply believe, that we have a very deep belief that something would happen or something wouldn't happen, and it did or it didn't, and half the time it has to do with what we believe in. And it feels like almost this metaphysical thing going on, but there's all of these pieces that fit into belief. So what my definition of belief, well, let me give you the definition of Webster's definition of belief. The definition of belief in Webster's is an acceptance that a statement is true or that something exists. It's trust, faith, or confidence in someone or something. I think most people agree with Henry Ford's quote, kind of on an intellectual level, but they don't really internalize it. They don't really believe it on a deep core level. And what I believe, my definition of belief is a sense of absolute certainty. A sense of absolute certainty that something, like I said, exists or is real, or you can accomplish something. When you have that certainty in your life, nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. The Bible says with faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move mountains, right? And so belief goes along with faith. I would say that certainty is probably one of the most critical keys to success in life. You must have certainty to succeed at anything. Think about it. When was the last time that you accomplished anything really worthwhile or meaningful when you were uncertain? Never, right? It doesn't happen. When you go into a situation where you're totally uncertain, you don't know what's going to happen, or you're not sure what the outcome is going to be, then you don't really accomplish much, right? And sometimes you end up sabotaging yourself, right? How about for my real estate friends out there? Did you ever get a client when you just walked into that, that listing appointment, that listing presentation, wondering if you're going to get the client, going in there and going, oh, man, I really hope I'm going to get the client, right? If you think about the word hope, I kind of hope I'm going to get the client. I kind of hope that this is going to turn out. And I don't mean the hope like the deep, meaningful hope. I mean the way that we use the word hope in Western society. I hope this is going to happen. I hope I can lose 20 pounds. I hope I get the client. I hope I get $1 million. What is the chance that you're going to actually get what you want if you hope it, right? You got to have a sense of absolute certainty. So I'll give you a really crazy example. So my son went through 2.5 years of intensive chemo treatment for his leukemia. He's almost at the end of it. Thank God. I can't wait till this part of his life, this chapter, he's finished this chapter. Not that I want him to rush through his life, but it's going to be a memory for him. So anyway, but when he was going through the treatment, every single doctor, every last one told us that his hair was going to fall out when he started getting chemo. Every single one. They would say, well, when he gets this treatment, his hair is going to fall out. And then what happened is, in spite of that, my son told me just a couple of days after getting diagnosed, he says, no, I will not lose my hair. It's not going to happen. And he was so passionate about it. He had that belief so deep inside him. He had a sense of absolute certainty. And guess what? He didn't lose his hair. He kept this attitude up through the entire treatment. He never lost his hair. The doctors were completely shocked. They kept saying, like I said, well, he didn't for that treatment, but he'll definitely lose it on this next drug. He never did. He never lost his hair. His certainty was so great that he was able to change his physiology. Now, you can say that's a coincidence, but the certainty that we had, and the certainty that he had, not only did it change his physiology immediately, it caused us to make better decisions and make choices that kept him healthier than honestly any other kid that I've ever known who went through cancer treatment, because we had that certainty. It all started with the belief and the certainty. Certainty is the fuel. It's the fuel that pushes you to grow and to keep moving. Without certainty, that's what makes us feel stuck, right? Have you ever been in a situation where you feel like you're stuck, like you just can't get out? Like you're in a situation that maybe you know how you got in the situation, maybe you don't know how you got in the situation, but you just feel stuck. You feel like you can't get out. How many times is that because you don't have a sense of certainty? You don't have a sense of certainty that you will be able to make things better, that you'll be able to make the rent payment, that you'll be able to get healthier, you'll be able to lose that weight, you'll be able to get the client, whatever it is, right? If you believe deeply that you're going to be able to accomplish something, you'll be able to do it, because our physiology responds to the certainty. It's also a part of your physiology. We do very specific things with our body to feel certain, right? So if you were to stand like you're totally certain of something, if you stood up straight and you put your shoulders back and you put a smile on your face and you believed it with every fiber of your being, would you stand differently than if you were confused or uncertain? It would look a lot different, wouldn't it? You can Tony Robbins uses this analogy. He says, you can tell when someone's depressed, right? If I asked you, what was the posture, what was the physiology of someone who's depressed? Their head would be down and their shoulders would be slumped over and they'd be breathing real shallow and their eyes would be looking down, right? Because they don't have a sense of absolute certainty. Depression is one of the symptoms, I guess, of not having certainty, or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. Maybe you get depressed because you don't have certainty. Maybe you don't have certainty because whatever it is, but it's part of that, right? But when you are certain, when you have this sense of complete belief, you stand differently, you show up differently, right? Harvard actually did a study on this. They call it superhero poses. When you stand like a superhero, like this, right, with your hands on your hips and your face is looking up, your cortisol, or your stress hormone, can drop up to 30% in 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, you can reduce your stress by 30% just by standing like this, putting your shoulders back, putting your hands on your hips, looking up. And your testosterone levels, that's the one that gives you that feeling of certainty, they're going to shoot up. This is just from 3 minutes of standing like that. So your certainty is in your body as well. We've gotten this notion somehow in our culture that our body and our mind are completely separate. They are not. They are one piece. Our physiology will tell our mind what to do, and our mind will tell our physiology what to do. But the easiest way to kind of hack the system is to do the physiology first. So if you stand up like that and do your superhero pose, you're going to get that sense of certainty. You will have that belief. So use your physiology. If you don't have it up here, use it in your body. Use it in the rest of your system, so that your physiology will tell your mind, I'm certain, I believe that this can happen. So try it right now. If you're on the live with me, or if you're watching this later, try it now, right now. Put your hands on your hips. I mean, come on, do it. Like nobody's looking around. I can't even see you. right? But put your hands on your hips, put your shoulders back, and look up and just kind of feel like you're a superhero. If you just do that for like 30 seconds, you will feel different. Do you feel like you could do anything in that state? I do something kind of similar for myself when I'm about to speak, or I'm about to teach, or I'm about to go into a coaching session. I put myself in a state of absolute certainty and belief, and it helps me access the resources that I need. Right? The thing is, you can study your rear off. Like if you think about when you're about to have a final, right? Maybe from college or back in high school, and you're about to have your final. And how many of us just cram before the final? Guilty. I do it. How many of us do that? Right? But you cram for the final the night before, and then you show up hoping that you're going to pass the test, right? You show up hoping that oh man, I really hope that I'm going to pass this. I really hope I get that answer that I was thinking about. And you put yourself in this unresourceful state. You put yourself in a state that's not certain. You put yourself in a state of uncertainty. And how many times do you not do well on the test? But if you study the material and you show up, and maybe you didn't study quite as much as you should have, right? Maybe you could have done a little bit more studying, but you show up certain, like, look, I am going to pass this test. This is going to happen. I'm going to get this done. And you show up with certainty, you usually do a lot better, right? Just because you have that certainty in your body, just because you have that certainty, it allows you to be able to access the resources that you already have. You already have the information, right? You already have the resources you need. You just have to be able to access them. And certainty is one of the most important things that will help you to be able to access those resources. Now, I will tell you, there is a paradox here between an uncertainty. You can't be too certain or you're going to get bored, right? If you're completely certain and you know everything that's going to happen, you get totally bored, right? How many of us have been in a job that we've done for 10 years or whatever, and eventually we just get totally bored, right? So a feeling of absolute certainty in your abilities, for example, is going to make it to where you're never going to start to grow. You're never going to attempt to keep moving forward. So you have to have the certainty, but you have to have a dose of uncertainty as well to keep you from getting bored. You know, that's why I think that God's got a sense of humor, because he's given us both, right? Two of our fundamental human needs are certainty and uncertainty, right? It's this paradox. But again, you have to have that uncertainty to continue to grow. And growth is another one of our fundamental human needs. You know, I heard a quote. I don't know who the quote is by. I'll have to look it up. But the quote goes, if you stop growing now, then you are now the best you will ever be, the most you will ever be, I think. So we have to have that uncertainty to push us. Belief is one of the most powerful forces in the human mind. But you have to balance the uncertainty and the certainty to fuel your belief. After all, the Bible says, like I said, faith the size of a mustard seed can move mountains. I would love for you to audit your beliefs this week. Find the things that you truly believe in and lean into them. And then find the things that maybe you have too much certainty in that you need to question a little bit. Whatever those are in your life. Belief is what is going to give you the success in life. It's what's going to give you fulfillment. It's what's going to give you health. Because no matter what happens, I can guarantee you've never accomplished anything really huge or really meaningful in your life without the belief that you can accomplish it, without the belief that you can get there. And you have the capabilities inside you. You have that potential. You just need to get through the obstacle, and the belief is what's going to help you get through the obstacle. Your breakthrough is on the other side of that obstacle. So go audit your beliefs this week, and I'll see you next week. Happy Monday.